Yep.
Good evening, everybody. Would like to call to order tonight's planning board meeting for the town of Middleton. We are here at the Fuller Meadows School. This is Wednesday, October 9th at 7 p.m. Please silence your phones if there's no public hearing tonight, but we will call on any of the applicants to be heard. First order of business is to review the minutes from our August meeting, since we did not have a September meeting. Has anyone had a chance to review the minutes from our August 21st, 2024 meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 24th, 2024 meeting.
Thank you, Jason. Do we have a second?
Yep, I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Second on our agenda, an A&R plan for 32 Boston Street. Anyone here from the applicant? All right. Let's see. 32 Boston Street, Middleton, Mass. Peter Goodwin was the surveyor. So we're looking to see that, or confirm that this does not constitute a subdivision within the meaning of our subdivision control law. Looking at the plot of land, this intersects with Church Street. The parcel that they are looking at here, parcel X, it's not a buildable lot. Looks like it's 4,704 square feet to be combined with the existing lot, which is 30,693 square feet. Blue Haven condo is right behind it. And without the applicant being here, I see no issues with it. It, like we mentioned, it's not a buildable lot. Does anyone have any comments, questions, or opinions on whether this meets the A&R criteria? Hearing none, I'll ask if anyone wants to make a motion.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to,
So there,
to approve
So we're looking to confirm whether this meets the criteria for an approval not required plan under our subdivision control law.
I just lost the. I'll make a motion to approve that it meets, sorry. I'll make a motion that the application for endorsement of the plan approval not required does not constitute a subdivision within the meaning of the subdivision control law.
Very good. Do we have a second?
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. Next, we have a ZBA recommendation for 165 South Main Street, modification of a 2017 special permit in combination of two parcels.
Good evening, Jill Mann here, and we have the Roland Lemieux in this, the proposed user of property. His name's Ronnie Solis, so it's for Ronnie's Landscaping. Because I didn't know if we'd have this set up tonight, which I'm glad I did. Just brought in a plan that Williams want it colored, so I absolutely am a kindergarten. I did color it, and I'm gonna walk through it. It's kind of embarrassing that we like still do this, right, in this format, but I do. Amy, I'm gonna give it to you for the file after I just go through it with them, because I'm not sure if I have. Oh, I do.
She actually did
So
color it.
basically, this is the property that's located, you know where Fuller Ponds, I think Ms. Sheehan may, because she drives by it every day. So you know that project where Todd Champlain used to be, and now you no longer see that? Yeah. So Ronnie Solis actually took occupancy and was under the impression that he was entitled to use a substantial portion of this property because historically, a tremendous portion of the property had been used. However, they came to me because it isn't all usable. So the plan that I showed you, it includes the complete property that we're seeking to get approved. So as you read, part of the approval that I'm seeking is to amend an existing special permit and to add a special permit to allow the second lot to be included in this proposal. So if you look at the dotted lines, that's the area that currently has a special permit to allow a contractor use and outdoor storage. So believe it or not, right now, Ronnie is using only that area and parks his trucks in the areas you see between these dotted lines and puts materials. He doesn't obviously have all the materials for his business on site because it would be impossible to do so. The reason for the permit to expand is because he needs more space. So that would include the space that has already been cleared and already prepped for this type of activity, and that extends to the line that you see on this plan. I will tell you, though, that the project, when that other person was there, he violated his lease, pushed back and literally put Lynn Pack all the way to the line. He was evicted. It just took a lot of time because he was there during the pandemic when the courts were closed to eviction. Eventually, they did get him out, and there was a lot of back and forth with Fuller Pond, with the building inspector, with the owner, and with the user. However, he's gone, and Ronnie is more than willing in trying to comply with all of the requirements. In fact, Mr. Solis attended a meeting with the Fuller Pond residents because clearly, the only people really affected by this are the Fuller Pond residents because they wrap the property. So if you will, here's Fuller Pond's entrance. Fuller Pond's property is all the way back here. So there's a 200-foot buffer between this use and Fuller Pond, but Fuller Pond still, kind of encases this part of the area. So the proposal, after we spoke with Fuller Pond, is to do some additional landscaping, which isn't shown on this because we only had the meeting with Fuller Pond last week. So we're trying to finish the stormwater management plan, trying to finish the final landscaping plan. However, what was discussed and essentially agreed upon was to create a 10-foot buffer. Even though Fuller Pond's property is in the business zone, it is not zoned residential. It is maybe 1,000 feet back, but it is not zoned where they have their entrance. Notwithstanding that, the applicant has agreed to create a 10-foot strip. And before the 10-foot strip is a fence that runs down along the property line with Fuller Pond. And you can see that. I try to make it a darker line beyond the property line. So there is a wooden fence there. Some parts of the wooden fence, to be quite frank, are starting to fall apart. So the agreement is when Ronnie, if Ronnie gets the permit, he will go in, he will place those parts of the fence that are falling apart, and will put landscaping on both Fuller Pond side and on this side to try and balance it and to create a better visual screen. And then the proposal was also to put a fence across this portion of the property. I think it's pretty clear why, because while I trust Ronnie, and I think the Fuller Pond may trust Ronnie because he does a lot of work for them, I would prefer to put a fence up so that I don't have to rely on trust and I can rely on a physical object. So that's why the fence went in. And then you can see this big green area. That area will remain open space. And in addition to that, part of this plan is to recapture part of the open space. So when that other person came in and took over the property, he took a lot of the 30-foot part of the front and paved it. So we're going to reclaim it. And you can kind of see it if you look at the green where there's like another line, that's where the pavement ends really. So we're going to go back, cut up that pavement and put in landscaping. So this proposal is to do all that work. And then when you can see the cross-hatched area behind the house and behind the garage, there will be gates that will obstruct the view from 114 and not allow anybody in. And they go from the house over to the fence, and then from the garage over to the open space area, so that nobody can come through. I mean, you couldn't drive through this property here. It unfortunately is laden with that Japanese knotwood. I mean, there's almost nothing you can do once that stuff takes over, other than pave over it. So we're still proposing, though, to put in stormwater management to handle all of the flow from when the illegal filling took place in the back, so that we can handle that. That's why some of this is going to be redone for stormwater purposes when we apply for that permit. And then the proposal is to put, equipment and outdoor storage in the back. So only behind, can't see it from 114, cannot see it from Fuller Pond, and will be obstructed all along this way. We actually have a note on the plan that we will infill all landscaping here to ensure the Fuller Pond isn't affected, because I guess what was happening, and Ms. Sheehan can attest to this, is the old user would take trucks, but those huge plow trucks, and angle them up so that that bed would be raised, which is like 30 feet in the air. So we've agreed never to do that. And we don't have trucks that big either.
Business hours still going to be limited to, I think the original permit said 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. with the exception of, extreme weather conditions when people.
So it's a little different because he's a landscaper. So with contractors, it's different hours, but landscapers only work 8 months a year, and they have to be able to go out. So he starts, we discussed this with Fuller too, he starts at about 6:30, and he'll get back anytime between the sun sets. So to kind of limit his hours is tough because he's controlled by the weather, and he's not a contractor, so he doesn't come in with heavy equipment that has to idle and all of these things. He literally comes in with those trailers, drops them off, the other guys get in their trucks and they leave. So there's not really activity on site.
So there's not really trucks there, it's just more or less trailers that won't be like, so how far are they gonna be parking to that rear part because also on the other side of that is Fuller Pond's garden.
It's right, it's about 100 feet away. It's like up here, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
What the other guy did was he was putting materials here on the side, everything.
Yeah.
We're gonna maintain the 100 feet from your garden,
Uh-huh.
from the garden, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And then here, we're going to, he had used this whole strip. He went all the way to the fence.
Yeah.
We aren't going to do that, so we need 10 feet. But what we also said was that we were going to keep like high equipment. Like we have one truck that's high, it's called a boom, because he
Boom
does
truck.
cut down
Yeah.
trees.
Yeah.
So we're parking the boom here.
He's not going to be putting any material on that site,
He
right?
does have, he's got to have material storage back in the rear corner.
For logs.
But it's very, he's a landscaper, he's not a landscape, like.
Is it organic?
Yeah, but he's a tree trimmer. He
Right,
cuts down
yeah.
trees, he's got
He's
bucket trucks.
And he'll have wood, so he'll bring that back, he'll sell it in the winter, number one. Number two, you go out to a job, you might order, 20 yards of mulch. Well, when they put it out, they may only use 19. What does he do with it? He brings it back?
That's why you put up the fence on it.
Well, that's why we have a fence in the back too, but we have promised Fuller Pond that we won't go anywhere so that we would create a visual impact to the property and would make sure that there's no issues, because I guess what happened was salt was placed on
Yeah.
the property and it
Yep.
leached into the ground, and that we're not gonna do. We're gonna actually have real bins, so when you come out, like a landscaping company, they'll have those big, huge blocks. So the blocks where the materials will go in, and if he's gonna store any product that can leach into the ground, they'll have to put a surface beneath, so he'll have to put a pad, he'll have to do something. He can't bring in salts because they,
And who's gonna watch over that?
with a building permit, before he can do anything, he's gonna have to put all these things in, or he won't be able to start using the property. So there'll be conditions, and recommend them.
Yep.
There'll be conditions in the special permit, and it's a special permit, so they can be enforced.
Mhm.
And now, not only does the town have the ability to go to court, but so does the owner.
So he's leasing this property?
He is, so Ronnie is leasing it. Part of the good news is, this particular individual, he runs a landscaping business, so he's completely and wholly dependent on individuals. He actually does business with Fuller Pond, So it's kind of a good thing, because you know that he can't really do things that are gonna harm Fuller Pond. He's right next to them, and he yields business from them. That's the good news. And he also does a lot of work in town. He's starting, and he wants to have a lot of work, not just the amount he has. So it's important to his reputation that he's sound. So there's that element of it. However, you need to put conditions in a permit. You can't rely on that. Just like I said, I said a fence should go across, because I'd rather not rely on somebody's promise not to go that way.
So the boom truck won't be near that fence then, I'm assuming?
Boom truck
It's gonna
only
be closer to the
in
front.
the area closest on this side. That's the promise that was made. They would be located like on the, I don't know what direction that is.
Well,
That would
it's
be on
back
the-
here.
that would be on the left side of the
Yeah.
property.
Like I said, as far away from that property as you can, because, you know, while it's not as high as a cherry picker one with the
Yeah,
big,
it's not.
you know,
These promises are documented?
they most certainly are. So what ends up happening is you make recommendations for conditions, and then the ZBA does as well. And then in the special permit that I file with the Registry of Deeds, it actually lists the special conditions, which say what it's promoting.
Okay. Remind me again, the 10-foot wide landscaped area along Fuller Pond Road, is that, what's going there? Is it going to be trees? Is it going to be?
Combination. So at some points, Fuller Pond asked us to put the trees instead of on our side, on their side. But to ensure that this area doesn't get used, we're gonna put all kinds of grasses so that it literally is not able to be used. It won't be stoned, it'll be mulch. It will not have, you know, any kind of material that you could back into. It won't be pea stone, it'll have plantings as well. So sometimes we'll put trees, but it's silly to kind of put tree on this side and then right next to it have another tree. Better to pay for all the money and put them on Fuller's side, because then you have that visual and it blocks more. And if they want that. But where we have holes on our side, we are gonna infill.
Am I allowed to ask how long of a lease did he sign?
You absolutely are, it's a legitimate question. So I think it's 3 years.
Sounds a lot better than what was previously there.
It
You
is.
talk about like boom trucks, and then like what was there before was like the huge excavators, you know, multiple
Yeah.
excavators, and it was just,
Excavators, he had.
it was a train wreck.
Yeah. It excavators, had,
Dump trucks.
It is a
Yeah,
site
dump trucks,
contractor, so it
triaxles.
entailed a lot of activity.
had all
Site
kinds of stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, it entailed a lot of
He was
activity.
storing a lot of stuff on the property.
Yes, I agree, and he was not supposed to.
Exactly.
But like I said, he was evicted, I mean, I think, when did it stop? It stopped before the winter, or like, right,
It was
that's
right
when the
around same
eviction
time.
went
It was Right
through.
after they finished the winter and he was gone in the springtime.
But I noticed, like, little by little, all the trucks were going, did you notice that? Yeah.
So it sounds like we've got two conditions, one with the fence high enough to obstruct trucks, trailers, and materials from Fuller Pond, as well as the 10-foot landscape area to be densely populated enough to prevent potential use.
Well, it's on either side, so, yes, to be populated to prevent use, 100%. I misunderstood, yes.
Can I say one more thing?
Yep.
And the bins need to be, there have to be proper bins for any stored materials, like sand.
Right, I think what
They
you're
have to
trying,
be-
you want
they
there
have
to
to
be
be-
a base, Jason, how do you say it? You want a base?
Yeah, there has to be, there has to be.
A liner, did you say?
It's really wouldn't be a liner, it basically would be called, you would have to have a pad
A pad.
to put
If you're
everything
going to
on,
have
so it doesn't
leaching
leach into the
materials.
ground.
Has
You would have to
anything-
put it on a pad. You can either do,
That's,
like, you can do a concrete one, they actually have snap-in plastic ones, you can do stuff like that, just something that doesn't leach in. So you put the concrete blocks around, so you can store stuff there, but there has to be a base so it doesn't, obviously, yes, you're gonna get some leaching into the ground, but it's not gonna be,
This will retain it better than
retain it
nothing.
better than just putting a big giant pile in the middle of the.
And that's absolutely, I mean, it's a reasonable condition and one that
Correct.
you can't really say is
Yep.
inappropriate, it's appropriate.
I think the only thing regarding the hours would just be where they are a landscaping company that they're probably gonna do plowing and stuff, so, you know, at nights and when there's, you know, snowstorms, it's like, they're gonna be out and about.
Right,
It's
he
part of the
takes the
business.
trucks and they leave, and, I mean, usually it's all, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like in the extreme
So
event
this would be-
too. With the landscaping, it's every day.
Right, yep.
Bodies.
I think I wrote all those conditions down, if anyone wants to make a motion.
I'll take a stab at the motion, but I don't have all the wording in front of me, so.
So I tried my best to write down the conditions that we just discussed. Hopefully you can read my writing.
All right, so I'll file a motion,
Positive recommendation.
positive recommendation for the modification of a 2017 special permit in combination of two parcels with the following conditions, including a fence that's high enough to obstruct trucks, trailers, and materials, 10 feet of landscaped area to be
On the
dense enough to prevent use, a lined pad for materials to be stored, such as salt, so it doesn't leach into the ground, and then boom truck restricted to outdoor storage on east side of the lot.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Not too bad, right?
Not bad, that was good.
The first one.
So I have a question for you. Since you don't have a planner, do you want us to take a stab at writing it? Do you want me to take a stab at it and send it to you?
Doesn't matter.
It's your call. I mean, I'm more than willing to help. I just figure it out.
If you would be willing to do that, that would be excellent.
And then I'm going to directly email you, and then I have to do it, I will do it to Justin at the same time.
Perfect.
Okay.
I'm going by there tomorrow morning anyway. I have my
Yeah,
Mylar that
I'll
I
write
need to
them.
sign, so
I'll try to do it by the morning. but
no problem if
yeah,
not.
I'll try to do it right away. But I will send it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Next, we've got an update on the current incomplete subdivisions for Lima Way, East Meadow Lane, Couture Way, Ridgewood Estates, and Beechbrook Farm.
So I don't see Alan here.
Nope.
So he was supposed to show up. So I have no real update other than trial is set for November and they're supposed to be coming. I've got nothing happened.
Okay. November at Land Court.
Is it, I think it might be.
This is on
I
East
can't
Meadow,
remember if
right?
it's Land
Superior
Court or
Court?
Superior Court, but yes, there's a trial. There's
That's for
actually a
East
trial
Meadow?
set.
That's East Meadow, right?
That is LAR.
LAR,
So,
right.
okay, I should explain, because I don't know how familiar you were with this. So, there are three interrelated subdivisions. One is Normal Way, then there's East Meadow, and there's Ridgewood. So, Ridgewood and East Meadow were supposed to have a connection. Norma does have a connection.
Oh, yeah, Norma goes
Into
through.
Ridgewood.
Correct.
But there's also supposed to be a connection between Ridgewood and East Meadow. The problem is the section that is supposed to have the connection in Ridgewood is yet to be developed. And there's a litigation pending over the sale of that particular piece from the owner, to one of the principals who owns East Meadow. So there's some fighting going on. But the permit for LAR specifically said, there's no waiver for the cul-de-sac for this last one, so you have to connect.
Gotta connect.
Because the one for East Meadow allowed a cul-de-sac waiver. So East Meadow could go forward without any connection, because it did get a waiver for that cul-de-sac. But the owner, Mr. McKinley, already created the extension and the connection and brought the water lines, did everything, because the town asked him to, and because he told his residents, we're gonna have a nice throughway, it's good for the communities to be together, to have walking. So that's what happened. And now, East Meadow's getting held up for its release, because the
Just
connection
finally,
hasn't been made.
connection not been
Yeah, and Paul Goodwin's like, I'm not gonna even allow any release of the bond until the connection's made, so he's trying to kind of create incentive for both parties, because presently, East Meadow, the developer continues to pay for all the plowing, which is a big responsibility.
Significant.
Yeah.
It's very significant.
Yeah, but, so with regard to that, Mr. DeGore, do you want me to talk about I had to do an extension for East Meadows tripartite. Are you gonna call those all separate?
I think we'll do that separate.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's just the lowdown. I don't know if Mr. Brooks, if you have questions, because, oh, Mr. Blaine, you weren't on this either for that. You didn't know anything about it either? So I don't know if either of you have
That's a
questions?
big issue between the two landowners.
Yeah, it's really, I mean,
Of who wants
It's gonna
to
be a
pay-
trial.
Who wants to pay for what, who wants to
In
do
November.
this, who wants to do that. It's been going on for
I
almost
mean,
over 2
and both
years.
subdivisions are, there's phases 1, 2, 3, 5, and 7 are done. So it's all the fronts are done in Ridgewood, and they're beautiful. I mean, they're absolutely beautiful. And then East Meadow is beautiful. I mean, you've driven down there, that's completely, that's done. I mean, everything's done, except for that one connection. So as far as, residents and honoring the commitment to residents for safe and adequate access, that is provided on both of those lots, just so you know that's not being compromised at all. It seriously is simply about that connection in the back.
All right. So since that's November, why don't we plan to put this back on for December's meeting?
Absolutely. Hopefully, the judge will say something by then.
Yeah.
We all know how that can work.
How long's it been going on for?
Years.
2 years now.
Yep.
The judge, there was a request to extend, and the judge said no.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. I am not handling the litigation. I want to say that loudly.
Otherwise, it would have been done by now, right, Jill?
Hello?
Couldn't have gone to trial.
I'm going to stamp my feet.
Okay, so just in here.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to take part 5, where it was supposed to be a discussion with Justin, our town administrator, about the new accessory dwelling unit legislation, which is state law, and a potential bylaw that we can put some guardrails on this new state law. If we don't, then we would miss our opportunity, and it becomes active in February of next year. So there's a proposed bylaw. The select board last night referred this to us. In order to put that bylaw forward, we would need to have an open public hearing for next month's meeting to discuss what those restrictions to the ADU bylaw would look like. Based on that meeting, we would then go and we would sponsor a amendment for town meeting, a special town meeting in December.
Yep.
And that would be enough time for us to put this in place in February.
And we have a town meeting come up in December.
Yep.
December 14th, so.
So again, this takes effect February 2nd, 2025. It is a by right element for the Commonwealth to put in their Affordable Housing Act. And they've been pretty restrictive in what we can and can't restrict. So for our proposed bylaw, still a couple of items to iron out. So it can't be more, the way we've set it up, it can't be more than 2 stories. And we specify that it can only be, whichever is less, either half the gross floor area of the principal dwelling or a maximum of 900 square feet. What I've asked our legal counsel to confirm is that 900 square feet, is that the entire structure if it's detached? Is that just for livable space, or would that include any potential garages? My thought is you could have a pretty big footprint if you made it 2 stories, 900 feet of garage space in the bottom that's not furnished, and then 900 feet above it, for a total of 1,800 square feet. That's a pretty large unit. So I asked him to confirm whether we would consider that garage or any garage space or non-livable space as part of that 900 square feet. Some other dimensional requirements that we have on there: ADUs shall comply with any and all lot area frontage, setback, height, lot width, and coverage requirements as may be applicable to single-family homes, and contained in Attachment 1, Table of Dimensional Requirements of the zoning bylaw. We touched on it being no more than 700 square feet, limited in maximum to 2 stories, At least one off-street parking space must be provided for all accessory dwelling units. Parking may be in a driveway or a garage, but the parking space may not be a tandem space with a private, or with a parking space for the primary single-family structure. The construction of a new garage to serve an ADU would require a special permit from the Board of Appeals. So again, I think what we'll do is we'll probably try and put this proposed or this draft bylaw out, maybe on the town website for people to review prior to our open meeting. But if everyone's in favor of it, I would suggest that we set this up for next month.
So,
Hearing.
so why the rush, though? Because, I mean,
Because it's put in place February regardless.
Yeah.
So whatever.
So if we do not
whatever-
have guardrails in place,
Yeah.
then people can try
They
and
can
put
do
whatever they
whatever,
want on there.
if we don't come up with our own regulations before that, what could potentially happen is whatever the state, if they write anything up or they don't write anything up, like, I mean, it was probably only 9 pages to get this thing passed, and then it's gonna be 560 pages
Right.
that you gotta read through in February, and if we don't get some regulatory basis behind how we want this to happen, they could just, they
So
could just,
what-
they
what
could
type-
just, they could free ball it.
what type of guardrails are we talking, though? Like, what are we thinking? Because it seems like it's pretty much mandated by the state, not more than 900, square feet.
Yep.
What other type of things?
Parking use schedules, so we also put on there ADUs may not be used for short-term rentals. Only one ADU is a matter of right on any property, so if someone wanted to create, let's say, 2 accessory dwelling units on a property, that would be done through special permit for the Board of Appeals.
I think that's already part of the law, though.
Yeah, and the other thing too is I know a lot of towns I've talked to about this, a lot of building commissioners there, and especially Linfield. My wife works in Linfield for the health department. They're making it, whoever's gonna do an accessory dwelling, it has to be, you have to get a Title V done before anything you can do on your property.
Yeah.
They want a Title V regulation to make sure that you have, the septic is enough for it. Like, they're going off of just rooms now, they're not going off of bedrooms like you used to on a septic. They're counting how many rooms you have in your house is how many, your septic's allowed. There's a lot of regulations are coming up on that also.
So we have on there, the ADU shall be serviced with adequate water and sewer, water supply in either sewer or septic service, whether it's tied into the primary septic or whether it's a separate septic. It would have to obviously support
That'd be-
the number of bedrooms in that.
It'd be kind of hard to put a septic system on, 2 septic systems on one piece of property in
Yeah.
Middleton.
Yeah. It also sets forth the plan, so they're still required to obtain a site plan approval from the Board of Appeals. And that's the criteria that they're gonna look at, is the architectural style, that it's compatible with the current property, that the ADU minimizes tree vegetation and soil removal and grade changes, serviced with adequate water and septic, and also has adequate parking.
So this would be a special meeting that would take place in December?
The special town meeting's already there.
Yeah.
This would just be something that we sponsor to add it to our zoning bylaw.
Do we normally cover, like, planning board items during, like, a special meeting, or?
Either
I thought
that or
was more-
normal town meeting, but the
Yeah.
problem is our normal town meeting isn't for 3 months after the law takes effect.
Yeah.
What about January?
It changed.
I just feel like being election year and the holidays, you're not gonna get
Yeah,
that much input.
we
in
talked
December.
about this last week at the Affordable Housing Trust meeting we had, and they talked about the same thing, and, we brought up about, everybody's like, oh, town meeting's gonna be in December, it's close to holidays, stuff like that. And they all said the same thing, well, we're already past September. I mean, last year we had a special one in September. We're already past that. They're like, all right, well, let's do December. If you do January, some people, it was in between. It was just like from what I was told, it was just a good position. And it's, from what I was told, it's based upon, the special town meeting is for the roof on this building, is what it is. It's to appropriate the funds for that. We have to make sure the funds are appropriated, even though we're gonna get some funding from the state. We have to make sure we have it approved, that we can do it, and then whatever the state gives us or doesn't give us. So by the time all the rules and regulations for everything due here, what had happened was, that was the only time that was specific for, that would make it easier for us and the state before, because they couldn't get it on the next town meeting, because when we went to do the application for it, it would have already expired for the funding from the state. So we have to get it approved through us, and then the funding will come in after. So we have to make sure we have the funding to do it, just in case, because of the timing of the application and everything with the state.
Yeah, so that special town meeting
So
is
that's why the
already
town
set for
meeting- it's
December
already been
12th,
set
regardless
for
of whether we
December.
put this forward or not.
It's got nothing to do with what we
Trying
were
to get
putting
someone,
on it. It was
people to
when-
show up to
This was already-
back-to-back
It was,
special meetings.
it was already set in place for December.
Yeah, I mean, I see the sense of urgency there as far as doing the special meeting, because funding would actually be, be lost. I think there's just too much we're trying to cram in such a short period of time, December, so that would mean that, by the end of the month, would have to have everything like finalized in order to get on that. To me, I think it's too quick. I don't see any consequences waiting till the beginning of the year. Because it's not like, building ADUs, it's not like people are gonna be going crazy November, December when, the ground's frozen.
Well, yeah, even
But,
worst case.
but the thing is this has to go to meeting.
Yeah.
This has to go to town meeting.
Correct.
To be approved.
Yep.
They have the town meeting in December. We can't wait till May. We have town meeting, they're not gonna do a town meeting in December and then a town meeting in
Yeah.
January. Just have it there. It has to go in front of town meeting to be approved for what we wanna do specific for our ADU units.
Yeah.
How crazy do you think people are gonna go between February and May, though?
There's a lot of accessory dwelling units that are unpermitted already, that are already existing, that could potentially come up if there's no guardrails in place, that it could land on the town's lap in that 3-month interval between when the law takes effect in February and when the next normal town meeting would take place. A lot of them are already built, they're already out there, and it's just a matter of whether or not they're gonna get them permitted or not.
Okay.
I think we should just do it in December.
Getting public hearing next month, and then December,
December, go
Yeah.
to
yep,
town meeting.
we go to town
I was
meeting.
only asking because I don't see crazy differences between our proposed bylaw and what's already stated in the actual law.
There's not a ton, but the actual law only makes recommendations on what can and can't be restricted. It's incumbent on the towns to actually put those restrictions in place. If anyone
Yeah.
wants to propose a special, public hearing for next month, we can take a vote on it, and if,
A separate one?
well, to add it to next month's agenda.
Yeah.
I'll make a recommendation to add to next month's agenda, a public hearing on, our ADU bylaws.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Nay.
Very good, passes on a
Three to two.
Yeah.
3-2.
Okay, next.
Right, reports from any committees. I know you just gave us the report on the, ooh,
Did you pass over Beach Brook on, want an update on properties? I don't know if I need to say anything. Beach Brook Farm.
that was on our incomplete subdivision list.
Yeah.
If you're prepared to speak on that, please,
I
please come
got
on.
an email to.
Oh, yeah.
So, sorry.
Sure.
All right, Scott Greenwood, Beachbrook Development. I should be wrapping up the development sometime in May or June.
Okay.
And doing my final coats on the road by then.
May or June?
That's my target.
Very good.
All right.
So we'll
Thank
put
you.
it back on the agenda for July? Give them till July to get it done?
Good, yeah.
Yep.
All right, if I have any other things, I'll come back on that.
Yep,
All right.
no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next month, we will, sorry, go ahead.
The tripartites?
Is that on here?
Did Scott not put them on?
Nope.
I thought I saw them.
East Meadow.
Oh,
Northeast River Tripart Extension. Oh,
Yeah,
I
there
see
we
it as an attachment, but it wasn't on the agenda.
Yeah, it was on the agenda.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Did he put the?
It's in the attachments, though.
Attachment was put in, yep, I see three of them. East Meadow Tripart Extension, Northeast River Tripart Extension, and
Lima
Lima.
Way.
They're just
Yep.
here.
Yeah, it just came in.
Yep, just got put in our folder.
Yeah, I have them.
There you go.
I can talk about them.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, all of those three subdivisions require extensions. You know, Katrina wasn't here and they got missed. Some of them were extended through June, July, August. So basically what I have are extensions, and how that works is basically, so you guys know, probably have done a tripartite. So you basically post a bond to ensure that the roadways get completed. So for example, I have one here for East Meadow. So East Meadow, we want to complete. So what I did was I just simply got an extension. I did it through September 26th because that's what you did for Ridgewood. There's no other reason I did that, just for that reason. And it has to go to town meeting. So what I do is North Shore Bank is holding a cash account for Mr. McKinley. So what this does is I have the bank say, we're going to continue to hold the cash account for this duration, and Brent signs it and says, okay, I understand you're going to continue to hold, and you sign it saying, okay, we accept the additional and continued collateral. That's all that does. And I have that for Brent, East Meadow. Then North River Estates, that's the one that, the Kucha Way off of River Street, that's the one that just got done, same exact thing. I extended to 2026, and the reason I did to 2026 is because there still are 3 homes that need to be constructed. You can't put the final pavement on until they're done, because they just trash the street, and then we're left with streets that aren't very good. So we're anticipating that they'll be done in the next 12 to 18 months, 2026.
Okay.
Then, we're having actually an issue with, you guys remember Lima Way? I know you guys do. 3 of you do, 3 of you don't.
I don't.
2, oh my God, I have math skills. 3 of you do, 2 of you don't. So Lima Way is a very teeny tiny private subdivision roadway, and it was done because River Street is all residential. But this property had all this commercial land behind it. So in order to get from River Street to the commercial land, I couldn't get a variance, I had to get a subdivision done, because streets can run through a residential district to go to an industrial district, but a driveway cannot. So, it's a street. So that's why it's a subdivision roadway that's about 70 feet long, has a cul-de-sac at the end, and simply is providing access to industrial land behind. So I have this, which also extends the time frame to complete, because there are just certain issues attendant to some of the stormwater management and some of the things they have to do. They filled in some areas they shouldn't have filled in, and I don't know when they did it, if they did it before the subdivision or after it, but we're trying to fix that because it's some floodplain impact and some other impacted areas. So that's why we're asking for an extension for Lima Way, and that's it.
When's that extended till?
I'm trying to see it, and now I don't have my glasses on, so that
September
makes it
30th,
even worse.
2025.
25, yeah.
Yeah, we didn't need a lot of time
Yeah.
for this
Yeah.
one. So, and I brought, I don't know why I brought a billion copies, but I'm just going to have, if I may, if when you want to sign, if you approve them, then I would ask that Mr. DeGorio signs 2 of them each.
So I'll take 3 separate votes on these as part of 7 items not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance of the meeting. First one, we'll go in order of which we reviewed it. East Meadow Tripartite Extension. This is to extend the tripart agreement between North Shore Cooperative Bank and East Meadow LLC. The amount of that tripart agreement in the line of credit with the bank is $364,503. We held meetings and we voted to reduce the amount of funds back in 2022. So the current balance is $186,983 on that tripartite agreement. I will entertain any motion to extend that tripartite agreement to September 30th, 2026.
Make a motion to extend time to complete East Meadow to September 30th, 2026.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next one is Northeast River Tripartite Extension. This is for Northeast River Estates LLC, also with North Shore Cooperative Bank. Originally, it appears the principal amount was $227,000 for the security, and that looks like that limit is still
Still the same.
that, yeah, still the balance on that. So they've requested an extension to September 30th, 2026 as well.
Make a motion to extend the tripart agreement for North River State subdivision till September 30th, 2026.
All in favor? I'm sorry,
I'll second
do we
it.
have a second?
Yep.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And then for Lima Way, looking to extend the completion of the subdivision roadway to September 30th, 2025.
I make a motion to extend,
It's really you extend the covenant on
Extending
this.
the,
Covenant,
yeah,
This one's a
There's
covenant.
no bond, so the covenant remains in place.
This is just
They
a
can't
this is
sell
just a
it.
covenant, it's not a
They basically
tripart
can't
agreement.
sell anything until this is released.
very good. I'll entertain a motion to extend the covenant for the Lima family and
Because it's just the covenant, it's just.
Lima River Street Realty Trust.
I'll make a motion to extend the covenant till September, what is it?
2025.
30th, 2025.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I did two, so I give Amy one, the original.
Okay, perfect.
Are you getting a little cold?
I'm sick. But I wanted to come today because I've been traveling.
Well, I'm glad I got to see you.
I know.
You guys have more after this?
I think that's it, right?
Let me
so.
see.
It's a report from any committees.
Yeah, that was it.
It's not too bad. You have a nice signature.
For a lefty, I guess.
I'm surprised I can
Be
actually
careful of the
read that.
pens that I use.
Don't have me sign anything then.
I'm no choice.
It's not
No,
neat.
you can't read my signature. Of course, my signature is exactly the way my husband writes it. Perfect, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I may see you next month, I don't know.
Okay,
We shall
thank
see if
you.
I come up with something.
Happy Halloween.
Hopefully. Perhaps.
you have any
Thank you
report?
very much.
Thank you.
Bye, Jill.
Thank
See you, Joe.
Do we have any reports from committees? I know you gave us a good one for,
Yeah, the other thing on the Affordable Housing Trust, we talked, a little touch base, we're in conversation with when you started, when you were on the board about, we had another person, gentleman come in, Kevin, talking from Homes, and we're getting into more about how we actually want the Affordable Housing Trust to set up. So what we want to do is Jackie's going to send out an email. She's supposed to send it out. I don't know if she has. I haven't got it yet, but she wants to try to do a meeting with, in January, Planning Board, Select Board, Affordable Housing Trust, and Zoning Board. They want to have another joint meeting like we did last year. We had everybody come in, just to let them know what's going on, because we, pretty much, Brian wrote up everything that, our 7 basic steps we want to do in Affordable Housing Trust, but ADU falls underneath that, and they, she's going to try to get Scott there, and the new, hopefully next month, we're going to have our new planner. We'll be starting. So the planner is going to sit in a couple of the Affordable Housing Trusts to get to know what's going on. So hopefully, the January meeting will be everybody that can show up, and it'll kind of give her like I don't know if it's a her or him, I keep saying her, but it'll give them, the new planner, just kind of like a head force straight into it. All right, this is what we got coming up, this is what we're doing, so they can start preparing and working on, new things coming up. So that'll be coming, probably next month's meeting in November. Jackie will have a date set down, and then we're gonna have they want to have a joint meeting with everybody. It's something I proposed, last year, we did it, and I proposed it again, especially with the ADUs coming up, and we finally have our Affordable Housing Trust narrowed down. We went through all our, people that came in and gave us a head force of, when John was doing everything he was doing and stuff like that, and we got everything all settled down, so for our 5-year major A and little a process, so.
still thinking about doing that loan program where,
They were thinking about that. There's a couple other things we went through, on just basic, like we're gonna get CPA funds. We have somebody now on the board from CPA. So, we don't know if it's gonna be the same amount every year, if it's not gonna be the same amount, and, our gentleman that is our treasurer from, actually the Finance Committee, he's actually done a 7-year projection of, the money that we could possibly get and stuff like that, so he's keeping us updated on that, and we're getting a great rate on the money that we got, so we're getting some good interest on that and
Nice.
stuff, so it's in the process, but the biggest thing was just, they want to have that joint meeting, so just want to let you guys be prepared. That's probably going to come up sometime in January.
Perfect. Anything else, anybody? All right, meeting is adjourned.